Hi, I'm Edward Hudgens with the Human Achievement Alliance, and I want to issue to you a call to action. Food and Drug Administration reform is a path to our longevity future. Now, there's legislation before Congress right now that will allow us to use our insights and our aspirations concerning longevity to raise the consciousness of and frame the thinking of opinion leaders, influencers, policymakers, and the general public to the fact that living to 150 or 200 years or even more in health is not science fiction, it is a real possibility. Now, my premise is that the Food and Drug Administration is simply not ready for our exponential future. Now, the FDA in its current form was put together in 1962 to certify the safety and the efficacy of proposed medications. The problem is that even with reforms along the way, it has not kept up with the times. A Tufts University study recently found that it takes 10 to 12 years at a cost of almost $3 billion to bring a proposed medication or treatment from lab to patient. And much of that time is going through the rigorous requirements by the FDA for clinical trials. They're slow and arduous and simply are not keeping up with the times. What this means is, for example, that small, innovative labs simply can't shoulder those costs, and often the treatments never come out. It means that some researchers actually have to go offshore to get around FDA's arduous regulations in order to do their own testing. Worst of all, it means that millions of individuals suffer and millions more fill invisible graveyards waiting for treatments that never come. Now, the coronavirus, the COVID pandemic, has certainly highlighted the urgency for FDA reform. And the good news is that there's now a vehicle to promote that reform and to promote longevity. This is the Promising Pathways Act of 2021 that's been introduced into Congress, and it's a bipartisan piece of legislation. Now, the origins actually of this act go back to 1992 during the AIDS epidemic, when tens of thousands of Americans were dying each year from AIDS. And under pressure from Congress and from activists, the FDA created a parallel track on which promising medication could be placed and accessed by sufferers from AIDS, even while that medication was still in clinical trials. And during the 3 years a particular medication was in clinical trials, it was placed on that pathway. Something like 12,000 people accessed it and probably had their lives saved. Now, in recent years, the perfection, you might say, of that AIDS parallel track approach can be found in the Free to Choose Medicine approach or Medicine Act. Now, with this particular proposal, first of all, any serious ailment, a treatment for any serious ailment can be put on a parallel track. Patients, in consultation with their physicians, with informed consent, can choose to access that treatment while it is still in clinical trials. Now, of course, what that means is that you're going to have more data coming in, because one of the requirements is that if a patient accesses a treatment that's on that parallel track while it's still in clinical trials, the data of their experience has to be placed in a trade-off evaluation drug database that is accessible to patients, to physicians, and to other researchers. What this means is that a less promising treatment will probably fail quicker and be weeded out, and it means that a more promising treatment will much faster be recognized and can be certified quicker. And of course, it also means that more people, not just the people in the experimental clinical trial group, can access a promising medication. That's the very good news. The other thing is that using this promising pathways approach, which is basically a variation of the free to choose medicine approach, Not only do you have an incentive for labs to create innovative treatments, you have an incentive for innovation in certification, in certifying efficacy. For example, using artificial intelligence to do so. So my call to action is this. I'd love to see 200 or even 2,000, better still, individuals listening to me now, contacting their members of Congress and contacting the staffs of Congress, especially those that sit on committees that oversee the Food and Drug Administration or healthcare issues. Ask them to take a look at the Promising Pathways Act. Explain that it's a possible step forward. But even more important, broaden the discussion. Explain to them that most of the serious ailments and cost of medication are due to aging and come when people are older. And then enlighten them. Enlighten them to the fact that the cost of sequencing a human DNA has gone from $100 million in 2021 down to under $1,000 today. So you can have your genome sequenced and look at all of the possible ways, threats that you have that can be treated early, perhaps. Inform them about the wearable diagnostics that can in real time monitor health. Talk to them about CRISPR-Cas9 and how this particular genetic editing tool might be used to actually turn off Alzheimer's, and talk to them about telomerase and how that enzyme might be used to actually turn off aging. Now, I want to reach out to you, and I want you to reach out to me at the Human Achievement Alliance, and I can provide you with the information that will help you join this revolution to end aging. With your help, we can all celebrate birthdays into the indefinite future. I look forward to hearing from you, and I look forward to you joining with me and with others in defeating aging. Thank you very much.